This is the story of the Dust Bowl from 1930. Our story begins with Farmer John and his family. They are wheat farmers in Oklahoma and have been there for several years.
During the 1930s, temperatures became unusually high, and the ground became very dry due to erosion. Farmer John had been utilizing poor agricultural practices by soil exposed through plowing it dry, which was making the ground dusty and even drier than it already was from the erosion.
A lot of new arrivals were also coming to Oklahoma that weren't used to the climate. Most of Farmer John's and everyone else's land was bought through credit, which was collapsing most local governments and businesses. This was causing bankruptcy and tax delinquency. A lot of people were laid off because of this.
Not only was Farmer John's land becoming dry, but his animals were also suffering from starvation and dehydration. These conditions were becoming very tough, and a lot of his neighbors had to leave because of the harsh conditions. The government came up with ideas to help solve the problems that were going on in this area.
This idea was called the New Deal. Some of the ideas that they came up with were retiring 5.8 million acres from use, having 65 land projects, loaning over $21 million to over 150,000 farmers, and resettling around 4,500 families. They also had a project called the Great Plains Shelter Belt, where they planted 220 million trees.
The Farm Security Administration, or also known as the FSA, came to sell the New Deal. They focused on sharecroppers, tenant farmers, poor landowners, and a bunch more. Not all of what the FSA was saying was true. The FSA eventually changed aim and helped poor farmers like Farmer John buy land. By 1941, heavy rains came and the war diverted attention from the plains to the war. The land use changed little, and ironically, a lot of people forgot about the Dust Bowl. Farmer John ended up getting the same amount of crops in as before and lived happily ever after.